In the year 1900, a help wanted ad ran in the London newspaper. It said, "Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in the event of success. Ernest Shackleton, 4 Burlington Street." On December 5th, 1914, Ernest Shackleton set sail with 27 volunteer men in hopes of making the first crossing of the Antarctic continent. Little did they know it would be the last time that they would see civilization for nearly 500 days. Danger was guaranteed, survival was not, but courage was prerequisite. Upon arrival, the Antarctic made it very clear that this expedition was unwanted. Ice quickly circumvented the ship and began to press down on every side. Ernest Shackleton commanded all of his men overboard and onto the floating ice, as huge battering rams of ice crushed the whole of the ship, splintering the wood beyond repair. The men stood awestruck as they watched their beloved ship, their return back to London, sink to the bottom of the ocean. There they were, thousands of miles from home, bitter cold, with only small safety vessels and whatever they could carry off the ship. This expedition quickly turned into a battle of survival. Now, fortunately for them, Shackleton was a man of courage and a great leader, and he immediately put into action plans to keep his men alive and their morale high, because Shackleton understood that once the mind accepted defeat, a safe return was lost. Shackleton did not always know what to do, but he did know why he was doing it. Shackleton never lost sight of the importance of returning every man home safely, and miraculously, due to the courageous leadership of Ernest Shackleton, after 497 days, all men made it back safely to London. There were 0 casualties. Now, Ernest Shackleton's leadership was unprecedented, and his courage was monumental, and from this, there really is a great lesson to be learned. And that is that courage is not always knowing what and how to act in the face of adversity. Courage is knowing why you will act. When life gets tough, it is understanding why you are doing what you are doing that will help to get you through. Now, I have a hard time believing that these men who volunteered solely because of honor and recognition that was promised in the news advertisement. I like to think that there is a more intimate why for each of them. Perhaps that was a drive to push them further than they'd ever pushed themselves before. Or maybe it was to satiate a desire for adventure. Or perhaps it was to show the world that what was thought to be impossible was in fact possible. Now, I think we dental graduates can relate a bit to these men, and I'm not referring to dental school being a hazardous journey or having long months of complete darkness or small wages. Although, well, maybe I do. I don't know. What I mean is that we all started this journey with our own personal reasons, right? Our own personal why. We showed up day one, anxious and nervous, to take this first step in our professional careers. We began to get to know each other. We studied together. We struggled together. We laughed together. We endured countless hours of anxious examinations together. We played pranks on each other. Of course, I never did that. And in short, we really became a family. And all of these experiences changed us a little each day. And we began to realize that we could do hard things. We realized that we could do really hard things, like memorizing thousands of PowerPoint slides for a single examination. And then came that first day as a provider in the clinic. And suddenly those tiring hours of memorization and test taking and the anxiety that came along with it was welcomed as we realized that we would be working on real humans. And we realized that these teeth were attached to real human bodies, living bodies with a brain and with opinions and anxieties and fears and expectations. And it was very uncomfortable and terrifying. But little by little, day by day, this anxiety lessened until what was once frightening became, well, just a little less frightening. But I will never forget an important lesson that I learned from one of my patients that helped my nervousness begin to vanish. He taught me one of the most important lessons for my dental career. It was in the fall semester of my third year, and as always, I was sweating buckets before my patient arrived, maybe slightly hoping that he wouldn't show up. He's a gentleman in his late 40s whose health had deteriorated rapidly due to a systemic disease. And because of the complications of his disease, he had lost all of his teeth, which destroyed his self-esteem, and it limited what he was able to eat. It was really no secret. Sorry, allergies. It was no secret that this gentleman had little time left on this earth. I remember him telling me at one of our appointments, "I just want to smile one more time before I die." Now, how do you respond to that? It was at this time that my why started to change. And I realized that up until this point, I had been thinking a lot about myself. I had been focusing on my nervousness, on my role as a provider, on my schedule, and on me, myself, and I. And this patient that I'll call my friend, he really helped me to understand that it's not about me. It really is about my patients. And I began to desire to improve my skill set, not because I wanted to be recognized as a talented provider, but rather I wanted to improve my skill set so that I could provide my patients with the treatment which they deserve. My why began to morph from me to them, and I realized that as I focused away from myself and on my patients, my anxieties began to dissipate. Now, sure, I still get nervous, but I realized that nervousness is okay because it means that you care about what the outcome is. But our why will be refined little by little by experiences such as these. And it is experiences like these which give us the courage to continue forward in the face of adversity. And this is important because each of us will be making mistakes in our future. Small mistakes and big mistakes. And each of us will have days that will make us wish that we had chosen a different profession, maybe hopped on a different ship, right? And maybe we may feel that there are long days of darkness and constant danger. We may wonder why we chose to set sail on this hazardous journey. There's a lot of unknowns in our future and a lot of growing pains to come, but that's okay. Now, with all this hard work that we've put into graduating as doctors of dental surgery, it feels like we, like Shackleton's men, have just completed this great Atlantic journey, and that we are returning home safely to England. But in reality, we've only just set sail from London, and the adventures are yet to come. But unlike Shackleton's men, I do not think that our safe return is doubtful, because I have sat and worked with each of you side by side, and I'm confident that you have the skill set and the knowledge to become successful clinicians. and I'm confident that our experiences and what we've learned here at the University of Utah School of Dentistry has prepared us for a very successful journey. Now, this is an exciting time in our lives, and together we collectively are equipped to help and improve the lives of tens of thousands of people. Now, in closing, I encourage you in this upcoming week, with this excitement of moving to different states and different programs and different jobs, I encourage you to take a moment to yourself and find you somewhere quiet and physically write out your why. Because as we begin this journey, you will not always know what to do, but you can know why you are doing it. And in knowing why you are doing what you're doing, you will have the courage to move forward and press on. Class of 2021, congratulations. It's been a pleasure.